Welcome to Tales from the Streets. Here's what our narrator has to say. I have known our pastor since I was 5 years old. He used to visit our house when I was young. He was a friend to my father, and even when my father packed away from our house to marry another woman, Pastor was still coming to visit us and pray for my mother and us the children. So let's just say I've known him for 11 years. I don't see him as a stranger. Trouble started when I fell sick. My mother said maybe I had malaria. So she brought me some drugs from the chemist on our street. But after taking the drugs for 3 days, I was still not feeling better. So my mother then said I should go to the health center at Randall Avenue, here in Surulere. She always goes to Cotonou to buy frozen chicken every Wednesday. That was why she wasn't able to go with me to the hospital that day. At the hospital, they told me I had to do a blood test. And after waiting for many hours, I saw the doctor who prescribed some drugs and of course injections. That day I was throwing up badly and I had vomited all the food in my stomach before I got that injection. So one of the nurses told me to buy Sprite before taking the injection. I did. I just felt like sleeping, but I knew I had to get home. I was still standing at the bus stop not far from the health center when I saw Pastor. He asked me what I was doing there and I told him I was sick. He then helped me get into the bus and even paid my fare. I fell asleep the moment I got into the bus. Maybe it's because of the drugs they gave me at the hospital. The pastor woke me up when the bus stopped. I was too sick to ask questions when he told me he was taking me for prayers. All I wanted to do at that time was sleep. But the place he took me to was his house. Though I didn't know at that time. I just know that he put me in a room with a table and a bed. I went straight to lie down because I was too weak to sit up. He later brought me a plate of rice, which I ate and slept off again. He kept telling me that my enemies wanted to kill me, but he would pray for me. I woke up in the dark and felt as if a heavy weight was on my chest. I was struggling to push the weight off, but I couldn't. I wanted to shout for help, but my mouth was stuffed with something, maybe cloth, So I was struggling to free myself because apart from the load on my chest, all my body was on fire, as if there was something burning inside me. When I woke up the next morning, Pastor was there. He told me I had started my period and I should go and clean up. I was surprised because I was naked and all my body was just aching me. I didn't know how long I was in the pastor's house. I just know I woke up one time and saw the pastor lying on top of me, and that was when I knew I was in trouble. So I was shouting, "Pastor, Pastor." I was just shouting his name, "Pastor, Pastor." I suddenly realized what had happened to me. And the first thing I thought about was, this is like an African magic movie. Pastor has spoiled my life. He has spoiled my life for me. And I was just crying. I think some people in the house heard me crying and started banging on the door until the pastor opened the door and I ran out. I was crying and one woman from the compound took me inside her room. She gave me her wrapper to cover myself and then she gave me a phone to call my mother. My mother was crying when she came there. And she said she had been looking for me for 3 days. We were both crying when I told her what happened. So the people in the compound now told my mother to go and report the pastor to the police. But the pastor was begging my mother. He said it was the devil that pushed him. He was crying and begging my mother and saying he will repent, that my mother should remember he had been like a friend to us and then who will care for us if he goes to jail. My mother forgave him and was about taking me home. But one of the women had gone to call an auntie from that center where they help girls who had been raped. You know that center? Because what the pastor did to me was rape. That auntie came and took me to the hospital. They tested me and later brought me to the police station. Now, the pastor is in detention, but my mother is still saying that I should forgive him. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.